For Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for invocation. Rick? Thank you.
Our Father in heaven, we bow our heads before Thee this night in humble gratitude for the blessings and the liberties that we enjoy in this great land. We're thankful for those who serve in public service and those citizens that contribute so much of their time and energy to make this a better community. We ask Thee at this time that Thou might bless us with the wisdom, understanding, and compassion to do the right things and to do those things which benefit the lives of our citizens. We're grateful again for those responsibilities that we have and pray for Thy guidance and direction in all that we do. And we say this in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Schlum.
Here.
Councilmember Dickey.
Here.
Councilmember Archambault.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hansen.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Cantino.
Here.
Councilmember Leger.
Here.
All right. Thank you, Bev. All right. First item is to review some of the upcoming events, and want to start off with first appreciate everyone for supporting our local merchants during this time and encourage you to get out and learn more about the unique shops and restaurants and service offerings we have here in our community. On the 27th, there's Senior and Boomer Activities Expo at 1 o'clock on the 27th at the Community Center. And then, of course, it probably didn't happen today, but every Thursday, Art on the Avenue event in downtown here on the Avenue Medians, which was great the first week it was here, which was the week before this week, and I encourage you to get out there Thursday at noon next week, and we'll continue for a good period of time, see some of our local artists, and there were Native American artists there as well, so you'll really enjoy it. That's on every Thursday, and then the 28th we have Pony Express arriving here at downtown Fountain Hills, right down the avenue, and that celebration starts in the afternoon. So come on down. They arrive at the post office whenever they get here, but usually we have a little bit of a warning. If you get in the area, we might have an indication on that date as to when they're arriving. So that's next Thursday. And then, no, it wouldn't be Thursday, January 30th. It'd be Saturday, January 30th, My Air. There's another guided hike through the Fountain Hills McDowell Mountain Preserve and focus on botany, starting at the Golden Eagle Trailhead there at the end of Golden Eagle Boulevard. Again, that's Saturday the 30th at 8 a.m. And then some upcoming Fountain Hills sports to partake in and cheer on the Falcons. Friday, tomorrow, we've got the high school boys basketball team at the gym, and Monday, the boys soccer team out on the soccer field, as well as the girls soccer team after them on the field as well. And another girls basketball game on January 26th at 7. And the 29th, we'll have the boys basketball team again here at home, as well as Saturday at home as well. So get out and cheer on the Falcons. It's a lot of fun to watch our athletes there at the high school participate in their passion. Next, have a proclamation to read, and we had a great event. Yes.
Mayor, can I add one thing?
Davis.
Might be important to also mention the closure of the Rio Verde road at this time. That closure has been being connected by Maricopa County Flood Control and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. So we don't know when that road will reopen. It depends on, of course, the amount of water falling, the drainage, et cetera. And so thought it was important to try to get that information out as many means as we can.
Thank you, Rick. Yeah, so obviously you could look at my hair and understand if you're watching this on tape delay that this is storming outside right now, and the actual governor has called a state of emergency for the state of Arizona just recently. So here in Fountain Hills, obviously people going to and from will experience some problems. And as Rick mentioned, between here and the Verdes to the north, the road is closed. I also just heard that the Salt River project will be opening up the dam to have water flow into the river, so the river crossings soon will start closing along the south and east of us between here and Mesa and Tempe. So Tempe Town Lake may soon become a river again. And the washes? Tornado watch. Oh, and we are currently under a tornado watch, so be aware of that certainly. And of course our local washes, areas that are typically dry, but there's a dip there, be aware. It may no longer be just a dip. There may be a pool of water there to envelop your car and your engine, and we don't want you to get hurt. So be aware of low-lying areas and washes and Fountain Hills particularly. Thank you, Rick. So be safe out there. The proclamation I wanted to read here is national and the 9th annual National Mentoring Month campaign is occurring during this month of January 2010. And whereas the campaign's goal is to recruit volunteer mentors to help young people achieve their full potential, and whereas Thank You Mentor Day will be held on January 20th to thank and honor over 120 mentors in Fountain Hills who have served and encouraged our young people. Now therefore, I, J.T. Schlum, Mayor of the Town of Fountain Hills, hereby proclaim that the 20th day of January 2010 to be Thank Your Mentor Day in the Town of Fountain Hills, and on behalf of the Town Council, hereby thank all of those mentors who have contributed to the lives of young people in our community. So thank you, mentors, for doing that. It was a nice celebration breakfast the other day, and where some of the mentors were there to thank personally. So great efforts by some unsung heroes in our community that are just there for our kids, our future. Next proclamation is whereas the Pony Express played a particularly important and colorful part of history of the West dating back between 1860 and 1861. And whereas each year the Pony Express riders are remembered with a commemorative ride by the members of the Hash Knife Gang traveling from Holbrook to Scottsdale, with Fountain Hills being the next to last stop in their trek. Now therefore, January 28, 2010 is hereby proclaimed to be Pony Express Day in the Town of Fountain Hills. All town residents, visitors, and visitors of surrounding areas are invited to join in the festivities and dress Western to commemorate this part of our history of the West. So I have therefore set my hand and caused to be affixed the town seal of Fountain Hills, Maricopa County, this 28th day of January 2010. So, and come out, as we mentioned earlier, and enjoy Pony Express Days. It's a great, rich history of our area. Now we'll move into our public appearances. First, we have a presentation by our Deputy Town Manager, Julie Getty, regarding the eFountain Customer Relationship Management Program. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I am pleased to be here before the council again to talk about the town's 24-hour service center. Just over a year ago, the town added a new feature to our website called eFountain. eFountain is what is known as a Customer Relationship Management Program, or CRM. What is eFountain? eFountain provides residents with 24-hour access to town information as well as requests for service. Residents can look up information on the most frequently asked questions, including fountain facts, dog licensing, code enforcement, business licensing, etc. Residents can also file a request for service, such as an abandoned vehicle, potholes, code violations, etc. After the service request is filed, the resident will receive an email with a service request number that they can then log back into the system and check on the status of the service request. These service requests are routed to the appropriate department for handling, and the progress can be tracked by their supervisor or the town manager. The system will send an email back to the resident when the service request is completed. They can also go online and check the status at any time. Individuals can also get information on conducting business in Fountain Hills, application forms, changes in business information, etc. The CRM program can be accessed from our town website at www.fh.az.org and clicking on the lower left corner with the eFountain logo. You can see it by the arrow there. Clicking on the logo takes the user to the main screen with the most frequently asked questions and other topics by category. The user can also make a service request from this page. This is the first page after clicking on the eFountain logo. The first section includes the 10 most frequently requested information ranked in order. and that order changes as the citizens use the system. When this screenshot was taken, which was yesterday, the most common thing that people looked up was fountain facts. And on the next screen is fountain facts. And this tells the reader some facts about the fountain. If a resident has a code violation that they wanted to bring to the town's attention, they would file a service request through the code enforcement option on the front page. The next page shows what that service request form looks like. And on this page, there's a lot of drop-downs, which, says what kind of complaint do you have? Is it an abandoned vehicle? And then they can fill in the information. They can tell where the address is, and then it would be routed automatically to code enforcement. This is the chart that was presented last year showing the usage of the CRM program for the first 2 months of when it was in use, which was November and December of last year. The total views for that 2-month period, which is the total number of times that users checked into the program, was 1,464, or 732 per month. The total service requests per month was about 4. This chart is the full calendar year for 2009. For that year, there was 22,189 visits to the CRM, or 1,850 per month, a 253% increase. Service requests are approximately 10 per month, which is a 250% increase. This chart shows that the majority of the requests for service are entered through the town's website at 73%. If we get a call from a resident who does not have access to a computer but wants to either make a service request or pass on information about a potential hazard or situation, staff can enter it into the CRM system so that it can be routed to the appropriate department and then can also be tracked to make sure that it doesn't get forgotten. We can then run reports to see where the most frequent complaints are originating to see if extra attention needs to be paid in that area. This is a report that shows us how long it takes to resolve a resident's request. As you can see, the majority of the requests are resolved in the first 3 days. This chart shows by department how, it's a chart that can be prepared by the department to track how often their departments are completing their requests on time. We would like to encourage residents to take advantage of this tool whenever they have a concern in their neighborhood or feel that there is something that needs to be addressed by the town. This will help us do a better job in identifying those issues that cause our residents the most concern and perhaps get ahead of the problem rather than have it fester with the residents. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Anyone? Questions for staff on CRM? Julie, I was going to ask, what do staff generally feel about CRM? How do they feel it's working for our residents and for staff as well?
Mayor, members of the council, staff really likes the CRM and wishes that more residents would take advantage of it, because in that way situations are handled efficiently, they're tracked to make sure nothing gets lost. Instead of people writing things down on a piece of paper that may get lost, there's a way to track it. We can also identify areas of concern. For example, at the town hall we heard about truck traffic on Grandy. If people would use the CRM program, we would be able to see how many residents are concerned about that. So staff would really like to encourage residents to use it.
Okay. Councilmember Leger?
Thank you, Mayor. Julie, do we know what percentage of the e-fountain is represented in terms of the whole picture, the whole enchilada? In other words, if we were to look at how many phone calls we receive, how many requests there are for customer service in total, we have any way of gauging that? I'm just curious to know what percentage we've been able to move to an electronic means of dealing with them.
Mayors, members of the council, we don't have a way to track that system. A lot of requests go directly to the department. A lot of people will call directly over to Streets Department to complain about potholes, and we're hoping that through education that they will use this program, but we don't have a system to track how many come in just by phone.
Okay. So just if you were to swag, any idea? No?
I'm sorry, I do not.
And once again, that graph you had, how many are we receiving monthly once again?
I think it was 10. 10 actual requests.
The first 2 months, it's now 10 per month, right? The first 2 months, it was 4 per month.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
And I know sometimes when I look at the reports, sometimes they're entered by staff. It's like staff tracking things that they're doing, I'd imagine on customers' behalf, but perhaps some internal things. Are these, do you know if these stats are all customer requested information or requested work to be done? 'Cause sometimes it's people requesting an aerial photograph printout of something. It's a variety of different things. Do you know what if it's 10 residents entering the information themselves, or is it a combination of the residents and the staff entering on their behalf?
Mayor, members of council, yes, both staff enter when people call on the phone, again, if they don't have access, so staff will enter them in as well, yes.
That's what I've seen. All right. The reporting is pretty nice with this for council members or staff to go and look at what type of things. You can look at all the details, just click on it and see where things are. It's a pretty good tool. So yeah, so we can encourage citizens to use it more. I think the FAQs probably take care of a lot of the customers' initial questions. Obviously, if they're looking up fountain facts, that's not something that's really a negative thing, but at most of the CRMs people are having issues or asking for help with something. So good to see. Any other council questions? Councilmember Dickey?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, what Henry said before, just sort of, not to start a new whole project, but maybe when we start talking about different goals, that might be something good to do, to try and figure out a way to log what kind of calls we get, and how they're responded to. And if maybe, if they are on the phone, that the staff person always goes to something like this, and maybe there's a different menus or a different place they can go so that we know it's staff originated, because it just, that's actually a pretty good thing to know on all levels. Not to make a big project right now or anything, but maybe when we're all catching our breath a little bit, it's something that would really be an efficient way to figure out how we're doing things. Again, it's always so hard to access numbers. Everybody listens and says, well, I think we're doing pretty good, and this is a good way to do that. And in the future, that can even be a way to tie to bonuses and other things like that, because we definitely do that with the state, in the state.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone from the public? Call to the public.
No, Mayor.
All right, I did think so. Not a lot of people in attendance tonight. Now moved on to the consent agenda and request a motion to approve items 1 through 3 as listed.
So moved.
Second. All right, we got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dickey?
Aye.
Mayor Schlum?
Aye.
Councilmember Leger?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hanson?
Aye.
Councilmember Cantino?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown?
Aye.
Councilmember Ashambo?
Aye.
Mayor 7-0.
Thank you very much. Move on to the regular agenda. First item is consideration of appointing 2 citizens to serve on the Board of Adjustment for a 2-year term beginning February 1, 2010, ending January 31st, 2012. And I move to reappoint Angela Strohan and Paul Ryan. May I get a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor 7-0.
Thank you. The next item, we're going to look at items 5 through 9 together in one report. We're looking for Julie on this. Is that right, Julie? On this item? We're looking, obviously, a lot of parties here that we're going to hear about.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The next several events are activities that have been going on in the community, the wine festival and their liquor licenses for each one of them, and a special event application for the Thunderbird Artists, and I believe they're all connected. They're just all one event with separate liquor licenses.
That's how they are in our packet. Thank you very much. Can we get a motion to approve? Do we need individual motions on each one here, do you suspect? Are we?
Mr. Mayor, you can do it as one motion, if you'd like.
All right. I suspect I should probably, let me just read through.
I'm sorry, I would recommend that item 5 be a separate motion from the liquor licenses.
Okay.
Well, let's start with 5.
Good, we'll start with that. Item 5, consideration of special event application submitted by Judith Combs, Thunderbird Artists, Inc. for the 6th Annual Fountain Hills Fine Art and Wine Affair, which is sponsored by the Sunset Kiwanis Fountain Hills. The event is scheduled to be held March 19th, 2010 through March 21st, 2010, 10 to 5 p.m. May I get a motion to approve that?
Mayor, I move that we approve the Thunderbird Artists Fine Art and Wine Affair Special Event application as stipulated by staff.
All right, how about a second?
Second.
Any discussion on item number 5? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor 7-0.
All right. Item number 6, I'll read 7, 8, and 9. Consideration of special event liquor license application submitted by Daniel Elke, Sunset Kiwanis of Fountain Hills. Number 7, consideration of a wine festival license, wine fair license application submitted by John McLaughlin, Jerome Winery, Inc. Number 8, consideration of a wine festival license, wine fair license application submitted by Eric Laminski, Page Springs Cellars. Number 9, consideration of a wine festival license, wine fair license application submitted by Barbara Predmore, Alcatara LLC. Could I get a motion?
Motion to accept.
How about a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor 7-0.
All right, thank you very much, Julie. All right, next item up is quarterly update by our town manager on progress of implementing council's goals.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's always my pleasure to quarterly be able to come before you and report how we're doing in meeting the goals that you set on January 9th, particularly of this year. Or I'm sorry, it was last year, wasn't it already? I'm
Already.
still writing 2009 on my check, so.
Everybody.
You came together and identified 13 goals. You have them before you here. There are, of course, various initiatives and actions that are associated with each one of the goals. The orange line represents that progress that was made during the first quarter, and the red represents that progress that's been made toward the realization of this goal since the last quarterly report. Our being now 50% elapsed in the fiscal year, you can see that we have achieved at least 50% completion of each goal up to this point. And the details of that are associated with each goal are located within the report that I provided you. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to address those, or the relevant department head could also address them.
Any questions for Rick on our progress towards our goals through the rest of this fiscal year? Councilmember Leger.
Thank you, Mayor. Rick, I've had an opportunity, as I'm sure most of us have here, to review your progress, and just wanted to say thank you to you and the staff for managing the process and keeping us on track. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Leger. Any other questions? Councilmember Dickey?
Mayor, thanks. I have a question, Rick, about the commission, Environment Commission. We've made some changes in how we get commissioners appointed and when we meet and things like that. And one of the other things that we talked about was changing or adding other commissions or putting some together. And I see that it looks like a recommendation might have been sent up to you. I understand frustration because when you have people that are willing to help, it takes effort to get it in a workable way, and I know that when there's so much going on, it's hard to do that, but I wondered if it would be possible to know about when we might be able to start accessing some of these great volunteers who have indicated a lot of interest in the past to help with this.
Well, Mayor, Councilmember Dickey, as you know, those serving on commissions need to be recommended, of course, brought forward to this body and appointed by this body. One of the goals that we had taken upon ourselves this year that you had established was to test the feasibility or measure the feasibility of establishing such a commission. Obviously, that is feasible to do. We know we have talented and dedicated volunteers in the community. The only question that remains unanswered at this point is what the mayor and council would like to do with regard to how this commission is going to be formed and what it's going to be called and what is the scope of its duties going to look like. And that is something that we have not addressed, but it's interesting to me. As late as this morning, been chatting about this issue with the mayor.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other items to talk about? All right, thanks, Rick, for keeping us updated on a quarterly basis.
I wanted also to express my appreciation to all of you for participating in the retreat. And you should have received in your email at least a preliminary draft of 8 goals. They also will have attached to them certain initiatives and ideas that you identified in your goal-setting retreat. I found that exercise that we went through more productive than the one that produced these 13 goals. So I appreciate how participatory you were and how sharp you were. I compliment you on that. I think we've got a good basis for our budget now going forward, and it's very realistic. I felt like also you were very sensitive to our fiscal constraints as well, and we always appreciate that.
Well, Rick, as it was last year's, being almost brand new last year, jumping in and taking the reins to run this rather than us hiring somebody outside and or a firm to do it for a good amount of money. You did it again this year, and you did a great job. And staff and sheriff's office and the fire department came forward with their reports to help keep us in tune at a real important time as we look at doing things with less. So it was very well done and a good kickoff to our budget season early on. So appreciate your work and quality in doing that.
Thank you.
Next item's council discussion direction of town manager. I don't believe we had anything there.
That was it.
Number 12, summary council request, and I think we just received that as well. Item number 13, adjournment. Can we get a motion? Can we get a second? No? And a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Be safe out there. Drive slowly.
Stay home before.